In Afghanistan, yeah. So, I'm trying to think how to say it without saying too much. So we were in Afghanistan. We were doing joint missions with another element, and one night they decided not to go out. We went out on the target. That night I was getting ready to take over a line team, so I was shadowing a friend of mine who's a team leader. My gun was up in a different blocking position. On the way into the objective, we had to use some overhead support for some contact that we were receiving. Got to the objective, some people ran away. They decided they needed to send in people to get the guys that ran away. We call them squirters. And when they were flying in, we were still on the target, just cleaning up. And that's when I got the call over the radio that we had a helicopter down, so a bird down. And it was a little unnerving to hear that. I stick my head out the door and from one of the rooms, and I look at my buddy, and he's like, "Did you hear that?" I was like, "Yeah." So right then, at that moment, they're like, let's go, everybody out. So we ran out outside the courtyard, packed up our stuff, and started running. You could see the glow from the crash up and around the bend, about 7.5 clicks. So we ran as fast as we could to the crash site, and we were getting information kind of fed to us along the way. Ran to the crash, went under a bridge, big glowing ball of fire more or less. Got closer, realized what was going on. It was kind of hard to tell. We were told that they had set up a perimeter around it. They did not set up a perimeter. The aircraft got struck on one of the propellers, and it actually rotated the aircraft, which created a perfect circle of people who were not tied in. So right then we got to work pulling everybody away from the fire, and after we got that initial perimeter, we started trying to get the guys that were still right there in the aircraft out and away, and the aircraft blew up when we were pulling those guys out. So when the aircraft blew up, I got shrapnel in my back, and in I got me a Forrest Gump. Yeah, so just a couple pieces of shrapnel, some burns in the aid station right there inside of our little camp. They pulled out, or I had a piece that I found that I was pulling out in the shower, and then I went over to the other side where the Navy side, they had a ultrasound machine, so just scanning for any other pieces that I might have missed. But I was back at work. So did I think I would die? I think I knew that it was a reality. I was watching it happen to other people. My first day in Afghanistan, I watched my sister platoon. On the TV screen, the whole building blew up. They all got laid out. Fortunately, none of them died, but wiped out the whole building. And then a couple weeks later, one of my other squad leaders got shot straight through the face when he was yelling frag. And I watched him walk out of the courtyard, just like, blood coming out of his mouth. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?